Chapter 1. Grace in the Hardest of Places. Surprised by Faith. I know God will not give me anything I can't handle. I just wish He didn't trust me so much. Mother Teresa. My heart was doing cartwheels in my chest. I was sure I must be having a heart attack. First, I took long, deliberate breaths. Then I coughed hard, thinking that would jolt the fist-sized pump inside my chest into functioning properly. It was the week before our son's trial for first-degree murder. Even though he had already been given 7 other trial dates, followed by 7 postponements, I thought, it's really going to take place this time. Jean and I were tired. Bone-tired. Tired of waiting to know what the future held for our only child, and tired of the stress and constant anxiety. There were days when I wished I could go to sleep and not wake up. I was weary from being an advocate for my son at the county jail as he awaited a trial date, and I was sick of responding to questions from reporters, acquaintances, and especially from nosy individuals who wanted information they could share with other people. I had not taken a break from speaking following Jason's arrest, not because I was deeply spiritual, but because working hard helped to numb the pain, and ministry was our livelihood, the only way we could pay for our son's attorney. But we had been warned not to speak publicly about what had happened until after the trial. I had been saying out loud, "God, you are good. You are trustworthy." But was I saying those things because they were programmed into me by my family and my ministry background? Or because I really believed them? 30 months after our son's arrest in Florida, his trial began. And 5 days later, he was convicted and sentenced for first-degree murder. We returned home to Michigan weighed down with fear for our son's safety in prison, apprehensive about the future for his family and ours, uncertain about how to begin the appeal process, incredulous that we could be living a story that was so foreign to our former life, shocked that our prayers seemed useless, and overwhelmed by questions we couldn't answer. How could we encourage our son from so far away? How could we give tangible support to his wife and 2 young stepdaughters? Now that I could speak from a public platform about the trial, could I tell such an intense story without falling apart? I had always prided myself on not being one of those overly emotional speakers. Instead of getting better after the trial, the wild heartbeats and calisthenics in my chest got worse. Even when I tried to rest, there was something wrong. Sleep was elusive, and I couldn't deny that my heart was skipping beats, or, at the least, beating in an abnormal way. At Jean's insistence, I made an appointment with a cardiologist to find out if my heart was malfunctioning. My father had already had 2 bypass surgeries, so perhaps the real culprit was genetic. Following an EKG and a stress test, I prepared myself for what was sure to be bad news from the specialist. On the day of the follow-up appointment, the nurse led me to a private room where Jean and I waited for the doctor. When he sat down with us, he said, "Carol, the test results have come back and I have good news for you. Your heart is fine." I felt relief, coupled with confusion. Then what is wrong with me, I wondered. I could feel my heart beating erratically even as I sat before the cardiologist, having received a clean bill of health. The physician continued, "I know you are going through a lot right now. The symptoms you have been experiencing are not uncommon in people who are under this much stress. Based on a thorough evaluation of your physical health and an understanding of how the human body can respond to stress, I can conclude that you are suffering from severe panic attacks." I was flabbergasted by the report. How was it possible that my anxiety was so out of control? Didn't I trust God enough? Wasn't I clinging to the biblical truths I'd known from my earliest years in Sunday school? I had memorized many of the "fear not" scripture verses, and I had not given up on my faith, even after Jason's conviction.